Thank you. Mr. Curbelo, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Mr. Secretary, for your presence here today. I'd briefly like to associate myself with the Chairman's comments at the beginning of this hearing, where he discussed the importance of reforming and strengthening programs like Social Security and Medicare. I think it's critical that the administration work with this committee on not just making sure we keep our promises to today's seniors, but also tomorrow's seniors, people in my generation, people younger than me, who would like to see these programs around for us when we get a little older. Mr. Secretary, the budget provides continued support for the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program, as well as tax counseling for the elderly and low-income taxpayer clinics, or VITA, which provides assistance for low-income and residents in underserved communities in filing their tax returns. We are dedicated to creating a service-first IRS. Can you talk about the importance of these programs for the IRS and how they fit into that service-first mentality that we'd like to see the agency adopt?
Well, we're going to review all the different service areas at the IRS. And I think we're going to make sure that we bring a mentality of customer service. Particularly, there's a lot of things we can do online and make sure that we're responsive.
But specifically with regards to these programs that serve the least fortunate, people who really struggle to file their tax returns and to comply with the law, can you make a commitment that the administration is going to make sure that as we look at reforming the IRS, making it more customer-focused, that we will pay special attention to these services that help the least fortunate in our country?
We absolutely want to make sure that we have the proper services for the least fortunate. We want to make sure that these are the right programs and they're working, but yes.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Another issue, the budget proposes reducing improper payments by increasing the data sharing capabilities between agencies and support for business systems modernization. Can you discuss the importance of business systems modernization and data sharing to the IRS, again, in the context of this service-first approach?
Well, again, I think it's just critical that we invest in the infrastructure at the IRS and make sure that we have the technology and that we look across agencies. And I'd also just comment that our fiscal services area within Treasury touches almost every single receipt and payment, and that's something we'll also continue to work on.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. And I'll just say, speaking for myself, that as we reform the IRS and as it becomes that agency that is really on the side of American taxpayers, I truly believe that we should allocate more resources to the agency so that it can help us effectively administer the tax code in our country. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Mr. Secretary, for being here.